Things were cordial at the Senate Committee on Finance and Budget meeting, where the Commission on Revenue Allocation and the Council of Governors appeared before the committee to discuss County Government's Additional Allocation Bill 2022. CRA and CoG called for fast-tracking of the equalization fund and for Senate to fast-track passage of the county government's additional funds. However, the Senate Committee on Finance and Budget questioned what criteria was used to increase the number of counties benefiting from the equalization fund from 14 counties to 34 counties. Grace Ongoi with the details.
The conversation on the equalization fund took center stage at the meeting convened by the Senate Committee on Finance and Budget Chair Senator Ali Roba, where the Commission on Revenue Allocation CRA and the Council of Governors CoG shared their sentiments.
My name is Jane Kiringai, Chairperson.
The equalization fund was set aside by the national government to provide basic services, including health facilities and electricity to marginalized areas in order to bring the quality of those services in those areas to the level generally enjoyed by the rest of the nation. However, there have been numerous challenges to implement the use of the funds. The Council of Governors called on the National Treasury to prepare the appropriation bill for introduction and consideration by Parliament in order to facilitate utilization of the equalization fund. Sentiments that were shared by CRA, who called on Parliament to fast-track allocation of 29.4 billion shillings to beneficiary counties to hasten development.
So we're talking about an outstanding 42.8 billion shillings, but this particular bill only allocates 13.4 of the 42.8, leaving a balance of 29.4 billion yet to be allocated. It is the view of the Commission that Senate and Parliament should try and argue for a fast-tracking of the balance of 29.4 billion.
Our recommendation as CoG, number one is the National Treasury to urgently prepare the appropriation bill for introduction and consideration by Parliament to facilitate utilization of the equalization fund. This is in accordance with Article 204 of the Constitution. Our second recommendation, Chair, is that the Senate fast-track passage of the County Government's Additional Allocation Bill 2022 to enable utilization of funds as budgeted under the current financial year 2022.
The Senate Committee expressed hesitation on the increase of equalization fund beneficiaries from 14 to 34 counties.
And now we are bringing everybody into the fray. It means that everybody in the country is marginalized, because going by what is happening, I think in the next formula will have every county, every village to some extent is marginalized, except the CBDs of the major counties. That's our concern. We are not reopening the second policy, but as CRA, and also as CRA, you have an input in, I think, in the allocation of these resources from the county governments. Yeah. Now, if you go to the third, maybe when you discuss the third formula, you'll have places which will now be marginalized. Not because the fact that resources are not there from the county government, but the resources are being distributed in a skewed manner, so that.
However, the Council of Governors and CRA had differing opinions on the beneficiaries of the equalization fund, stating that the increase in the beneficiaries factored in all pockets of marginalization across counties.
We had this discussion with the North counties once we published the policy, and they had a meeting in West Pokot, and we took them through the rationale, underpinning the areas identified right there, and we give them the sub-location in Trans Nzoia, because it's not the entire Trans Nzoia. It is 2 sub-locations in Trans Nzoia that we identified. And when we explained to the people of West Pokot, in this policy, we identified these 2 sub-locations, and everyone who was in that room said, by the way, because it's a border, it's an administrative border that separates the sub-locations in West Pokot and this particular 2 sub-locations in Trans Nzoia. And they said, we are exactly the same. It is
asking, how do we
make sure that the fund, which is 0.0 something% of national revenue, is actually effective. Instead of having 2,500 small areas giving each 100 or 10 million shillings, why not have either more money, amend the constitution, provide more money for those marginalized areas, or reduce the places where this fund ought to cater for. But everybody's thinking at the time was that you had identified Marsabit, you had identified Wajir, and all those counties that cover nearly 3/4 of the country as places where you find marginalization. But if you speak to the people of Nairobi, they will tell you there are places that are marginalized in Nairobi.
The governors also brought to the attention of the Senate Finance Committee the ongoing leasing of medical equipment to the counties by the national government, noting there are loopholes in payment methods. They also noted that the allocation of medical equipment should have been need-based, as there are counties stuck with equipment they do not have specialized personnel to operate.
Under Section 4.
Grace Songoi, FOP TV News Watch.